Rousey.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome into MASN All Access. I'm your host, Paul Mancano. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that from wherever you're joining us, you're safe, healthy, and you're with your family. Slight change of scenery this week. I'm just going to pretend like the desktop picture taken by Hannah Broder behind me is our view outside the warehouse window. Well, Orioles fans got a taste of the future when Austin Hayes was recalled from Norfolk this past September. Granted, Hayes had already made his major league debut back in 2017, but this time the 24-year-old was noticeably stronger, more confident, and all around better prepared for the bigs. He flashed both the glove and the bat, and he set social media ablaze.
Back at the wall, up, and a great catch! Austin Hayes robs him of a home run!
It comes from my family for the most part because they're always blowing me up and sending me stuff, so I kind of see it secondhand.
That ball goes in the air. It is deep in center near the wall. And goodbye, home run! There is Hayes magic! In the air, not deep. Hayes coming. Look out. Diving. Another one! Austin Hayes!
Yeah, I just like to lay out, so if I have the chance to, you're going to see me flying through there and rolling around on the ground or banging into a wall. Just it's part of my game. I like to go all out, so I've always been that way.
Austin Hayes on MASN All Access, who joins us via Zoom. Austin, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day. I know everybody's got a little bit more time during the day, but we appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah, it was really hard to find time in my very busy schedule right now.
Yeah, how are you spending your time during this? Are you managing to find a way to get your workouts in, stay in shape, and do all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm still getting up early in the morning and going and working out in a garage. We were fortunate enough to have a bunch of weights, so I'm getting all my workouts in that the Orioles are giving me, and then there's a hitting facility that has allowed us to use their place, so we go and hit there when we're done, and my friend's neighborhood that has the home garage gym has a big open field, so then that's where we throw and do our running and all that stuff. So
besides working out and doing the workouts that you mentioned the Orioles gave you and staying in shape, how else are you spending your time?
Yeah, so I've been taking the weekends off as far as the running and weight training and all that. So like you can see on my Instagram and stuff, I spend most of my time either fishing or on a boat. That's about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, got to find something to get outside. I feel like that keeps you sane at some point. All right, Austin, I'm going to go through a few of your best catches, in my estimation, from your 21 games in Baltimore last year. Obviously, this is not a comprehensive list, but I want to get your thoughts because you make these catches look so easy. I want to get your thoughts on just how difficult these catches are in your estimation, whether some might look easy and are more difficult than they appear or vice versa. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like a plan.
Awesome. So let's start off with a play that you it looks like to the naked eye, you almost misjudged the ball. You come in for the ball. It was against the Rangers on September 7th, and then you end up having to backpedal and leap for it. That might look like to the naked eye that you are not judging the ball correctly, but you mentioned that's one of the most difficult balls to judge, right?
Yeah, I'll give that one a 7.
Okay.
Just because I had started to run in and then realized that I needed to go back, so I had to backpedal and pretty much jump as high as I could. So that was actually a really tough read.
Gotcha. And when it's coming off the bat that quickly, I'm sure that makes it just all the tougher to read. Is it typically the faster it's coming at you, the harder it is to make a decision?
It's the line drive that starts even with your eyes and it rises on the way there. That's the hardest one to read.
Gotcha.
It's a little bit different when you're in the corners, but when you're playing center, it's the one that's right at you.
Gotcha. Well, later in that game against the Rangers, you made a sliding catch in right center field. You're going to your left. You end up sliding for that ball. It was hit 109 miles an hour off the bat, which was the fastest ball that you caught on a fly out all season long, according to Baseball Savant. What was the difficulty of that catch?
That one I would give it a 6 because it was tailing away from me. That was the one that Solak hit, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he hit it the opposite way, so it was tailing away from me. So I'll give that one a 6.
Okay. And then we jump ahead to the series against Toronto at home. You got to talk about the Vlad Jr. rob catch in center field. Hit almost exactly 400 feet. That ball was a true rob. I think a lot of people think sometimes you're robbing a home run when it doesn't actually going to go over the wall, but that one was definitely going to go over the wall. Vlad Guerrero Jr. gave you a hat tip after that one as well. What was the difficulty of that catch?
Yeah, that one I would say that's a 9 or a 10. I was running full speed back to the wall. I didn't have time to climb it and wait for the ball or anything. It was just wide open, jump, try to get up, and then brace myself to hit the wall. So that's about as tough as it gets.
When you're backpedaling and you're trying to find the wall, how difficult is that when you're reaching out with your free hand to try to find the wall and judge exactly how high you have to run, and how far you have to run rather, and how high you have to jump there?
Yeah, it's a lot harder running to your glove side than it is the other way, because if I was running to my backhand side, I have a free hand to feel for the wall. But when you're going that way, you take a look, you're like, all right, I think I got 2 more steps, and then you just jump, and whatever happens.
Gotcha. All right, it didn't take long for you to make your next web gem. It was the very next night, also against Toronto. This one was on a ball that was a flare to short center field. You sprint in for it, and you dive head first to catch that ball. What was the difficulty of that catch?
Those are really tough ones to read when they're hit right at you.
Yeah.
Because that ball obviously wasn't barreled up the same way as the other one was that I backpedaled and jumped, but off the bat it looks the same.
Right. And how difficult is it, especially because you get called up in September, you're used to playing different outfields, and you're not at all used to the outfield at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. How difficult is it to acclimate yourself with a certain ballpark outfield? Does that require work on the side, work before games in terms of just figuring out the metrics and how you're going to be able to run and get to certain balls?
Yeah, that's pretty much the only way to figure it out is when you go out early for batting practice or your early work defensively, you look at where you're going to position yourself and where you're going to play, and you try to track as many balls as possible during BP from that spot until you feel comfortable. But sometimes it's just you get lucky with the positioning and you don't have to move very far.
Does it help, especially because in terms of center fields around baseball, I feel like there aren't all that many where you can truly leap and rob a catch? Does it help that in center field at Camden Yards, the wall is just short enough that you're able to leap over it and grab a ball?
Yeah, you've seen some crazy catches over the years with Adam Jones. Kiermaier had that crazy one. Trout had one. Jackie had the one where he climbed the wall in left center.
Yeah.
There's been some awesome robbing home run catches in Camden Yards by a lot of different center fielders.
Nice. Well, you made a robbing home run catch away from Camden Yards as well, also against the Blue Jays, but this one you were ranging to your right, so I guess you did have your free hand available to feel for the wall. In an away ballpark, what was the difficulty of the home run robbing catch you had in Toronto?
I'll say that one was a 7 because it was high enough for me to be able. That one was different than the Vlad one that was hit, because the Vlad home run that I robbed was more of a line drive, so I didn't have as much time to get to the wall and find it. But the other one that was the one Davis hit, right? Jonathan Davis?
Yes.
That one was hit higher, so I had more time to run back, like you said, feel for the wall, and kind of count my steps and try to time it up where I could leap and jump higher, since they do have a taller wall.
Right.
So I'll give that one a 7 because I had more time.
Gotcha. And in the same game, you made a sliding grab as well. I believe you're ranging to your left. You're going over into right center field, and it's a similar grab to the one that you had back against the Rangers. But what was the difficulty of that catch later on in that same game?
Yeah, it's just tough to lean forward and try to catch a ball like lower than your waist when you're running in full speed.
Right.
So it's almost like I was going to slide, and then I could have caught it standing up, so I just kind of dropped the knee and rolled into it. It was an awkward catch.
Gotcha. Is it difficult as well because you're out there with teammates that, for the most part, you haven't played with in the past? You play the majority of the season in the minor leagues, and then you get called up. Is it difficult to kind of judge where your left fielder and your right fielder are when you haven't had that much experience playing with them?
No, it's been good so far. Just because at some point I have played with pretty much everybody that was on the team last year, whether it was in spring training or AA through even September last year. I had a little bit of experience with everybody that I played with, so I was comfortable just knowing that they're all willing to go get the ball just like I am. So that makes it a lot easier because nobody's going to back off. Everybody's going to go after it hard. So that made it a lot easier for me.
Yeah, and we saw that with guys like Stevie Wilkerson. We saw that with plenty of guys in that Orioles outfield. So during this time off, you mentioned staying in shape and doing batting practice, taking fly balls. Have you been able to practice leaping catches, diving catches, sliding grabs, all that fun stuff?
No, not until I put a pair of baseball pants back on. You won't catch me diving or sliding, especially not in a field with a bunch of potholes and sprinkler heads. I'll wait till I get back on a nice baseball field to start doing that again.
Yeah, that's smart. You don't want to be the guy that gets injured during your time off. I feel like that's probably
exactly.
Yeah,
Take it
awesome.
a little easy on that.
Well, Austin, thanks so much for joining us here on MASN All Access. Stay safe. We really appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully we'll see you on the field soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll get rolling here again soon.
We're continuing our 20 in 20 series, highlighting 20 players to keep your eye on in the Orioles system for 2020 and beyond. Got two guys whose names will be familiar to O's fans, Ryan McKenna and Hunter Harvey. Let's start with Ryan McKenna. Austin Hayes grabbed a hold of the Orioles center field spot in 2019.
Hit him back, hit him in, I'll catch them all.
But Hayes has competition nipping at his heels.
I know I contribute in a lot of ways in the game.
Ryan McKenna certainly has the speed to play center at a high level.
Ever since I was drafted, there's a big emphasis on defense as a priority here, and using those tools and trying to help the team win is, been an importance to me.
McKenna made the O's 40-man roster for the first time this winter. Now he'll have an opportunity to show he deserves a shot at the bigs.
I'm hoping next year will be a good year for me and hopefully be on the Orioles staff.
McKenna's a former fourth-round pick out of high school in New Hampshire. He dominated in Frederick back in 2018. That earned him a call up to Bowie mid-season. In 2019, he played 135 games at the Double-A level. He hit .232 with 9 dingers and 54 RBIs. The O's added him to the 40-man roster in the offseason in order to protect him from the Rule 5 draft. Next up is a reliever who has already made his Major League debut, Hunter Harvey. Orioles fans waited a long time to see Hunter Harvey pitch at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. They finally got that opportunity this past August.
Harvey, his introduction here at Camden Yards is a good one.
After a litany of injuries threatened to derail his career, Harvey has reinvented himself as a speedballing reliever.
It's fun coming in, having the game on the line and being able to pitch. You can't really beat that.
The change has paid huge dividends already.
He loads the bases and gets out of it without the Nats getting a single run.
Of course, Harvey still needs to show he can stay healthy, but the talent has always been there. It's been a long journey for Hunter Harvey. He was drafted in the first round way back in 2013. Last year, he struggled in both Bowie and Norfolk before he got called up to Baltimore, but boy was he outstanding in those 7 games. Gave up just 1 earned run on a solo homer in 6 1/3 innings, plus 11 strikeouts to just 4 walks. He's looking to cement himself in the O's bullpen in 2020. Well, this has been a tough time for everybody involved, and for those who are involved in the Orioles, whether they be players or people behind the scenes, they've been doing their part to help out as well. And we bring in Orioles Senior VP of Administration and Experience, Greg Bader, who joins us via Zoom to chat a little bit more about what the O's are doing behind the scenes. Greg, thanks so much for hopping on.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I hope everybody's staying safe out there.
So the O's are obviously doing plenty behind the scenes. Let's start with the new ticket policy that is extended through the end of May. What can you tell us about what Orioles fans can do who have tickets up until the end of May?
Yeah, obviously with the games of April and May no longer going to take place as scheduled, it was imperative for us to create a policy where fans would have the maximum flexibility to address whatever current situation they're in. We certainly recognize that for for fans and families and those that own small businesses. There are different circumstances at play. So we have a couple of options for people on what to do with tickets for games in April and May. This involves season plan members, people who bought individually through online, through Orioles.com, and group leaders and people who've put together group outings. So the first is something that will happen automatically for any of those categories, which is a 25% bonus credit on top of the face value of the tickets that you purchased, that you can use that credit towards future games in 2020, 2021, or 2022. So it's a ton of flexibility over the next 3 seasons to be able to use that credit, and it's at 125%. So that 25% bonus credit on top of whatever you paid. That's for doing nothing. That's automatically will take place. If, however, you are looking for a full refund, we will grant those for these April and May games, and you just need to let us know. Contact the Orioles. Visit Orioles.com for the very specific information on how to go about doing that. But we certainly understand that there are some fans who would prefer their money back now, and we will refund their money at 100%.
That's awesome. Great to have those kind of options available for fans who loaded up on their tickets for the month of May, and it has been a beautiful month just waiting for us to have baseball at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. You guys have been doing plenty of other stuff behind the scenes as well, finding ways to reach fans in their own homes and virtually, whether it be having virtual bird visits. What other kinds of things have you guys been doing behind the scenes to reach out to fans and show, hey, you guys are still here for them?
Yeah, it's obviously quite a challenge, and I know you at MASN are not immune to that either, which is when we're not playing games, when we don't have players in the market, and we're not able to be out there visiting fans in the community, what do we do to keep folks engaged? So, whether it is MASN airing games in the evenings and throughout the day parts, or whether it's 105.7 The Fan taking a few nights a week to air past Orioles games as well. I think that's been a good opportunity for fans to connect to the team and see some of their favorite moments over the years. What we've done also is on our digital platforms on Thursdays at 5 p.m. and then on Sunday afternoons, we take a game of the week as well. And then we do all kinds of associated programming with it. We're doing live streams with Brett Hollander, hosting a pregame show where he often is interviewing an individual involved in one of these past games. We've had Robert Andino on to talk about the Curse of the Andino game against the Red Sox, which I think is a personal favorite of mine and one that many of my friends share. We have a podcast that's going out twice a week that Brett and Jeff Arnold are hosting. That involves special guests, maybe in a longer format than the pregame programming allows, but it's a great opportunity to connect with past and present Orioles. Melanie Newman's hosting The Grind on Instagram every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m., which is, she's a huge coffee lover. As fans in the market get to know her, she's very passionate about her coffee. And Dunkin' Donuts is presenting this show that is part talk show, part interviews of community leaders, but also involving current players and getting to know those players a little bit outside of their normal in-park and in-game personality. So that's been exciting. Just interviewed Dwight Smith the other day about his run in the MLB The Show 20 Players League, which at the time he was still in the postseason hunt. He did in fact make it, and unfortunately he was eliminated this past weekend, but still played extremely, extremely well in that tournament. So we are trying to do all of these various things to stay connected. We have a virtual kids corner, which is up on Orioles.com, which is perfect for parents who are looking for things to do with their kids. There's educational things. There's fun activities. There's a story time series for the younger fans who can watch our players read a children's book. Typically, it's them reading to their own child, but it is being shared for everyone to enjoy. So it's just a lot of great things that parents can do to keep their kids entertained when they're not doing the distance learning through school.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big gamer myself, but that Players League, I was watching that at home and actually found myself cheering from my own couch about.
It was compelling. It was, and for somebody who it was a little slow to react to the esports fandom that's out there. Me personally speaking, it was really interesting to get on Twitch and see how passionate people are. And I too was yelling at the computer, wondering what Dwight was doing, bringing in a certain player and then delivering. And it was like, yes, we did it. It was very, it was great. And it just goes to show how much we miss that sports and that competition and that live entertainment that you just don't know how is going to turn out. I mean, obviously with running these past games, they're great moments. We know they turn out great. We get to relive that and enjoy that. But there's something about a sporting event where you don't know the outcome, even esports, that can be really, really exciting and engaging.
Yeah, even if it is a 3-inning game, you got to question
Yes.
some of Dwight's decisions to bring in certain pitchers at certain times, but it's okay. We'll leave that to Brandon Hyde.
Exactly. That's why Brandon gets paid the big bucks.
Exactly. So you guys have also found ways to reach out individually in the community. Mike Elias, notably over the weekend, was in Lot H by M&T Bank Stadium, and of course steps from Oriole Park at Camden Yards to help people in the city of Baltimore, specifically needy people who could use some meals at this difficult time. What can you tell us about the work that Mike Elias has done over the past week?
Yeah, it's been wonderful to see folks within the organization, both on the baseball and the business side, come together to really try to create circumstances where we can engage with fans, particularly those in need. So what you're speaking of is the relationship we have with the World Central Kitchen, which is utilizing the parking lots at Camden Yards on Saturdays to distribute food to those in need. So this is the Chef Jose Andres activity that he does, and in certain markets, he's doing it here. Obviously, just a tremendous thing for people in need who can come, and it's all run very safely and organized. And as you said, Mike Elias was doing traffic control with his with his orange flag, waving fans in. It was great for him to volunteer his time. Very thoughtful. And we also have some relationships with the Maryland Food Bank, where we are asking fans during the games that we're streaming on Thursdays and Sundays, they can click a button and donate to the Maryland Food Bank. And we're, of course, supporting the food bank ourselves. And also opportunities to provide meals and families through the Salvation Army. We've done events, volunteer events at the ballpark, and we'll continue to do that as well. Again, hoping to help those most in need. And we want to encourage fans to go to Orioles.com/community resources, where fans can learn about what they can do, whether it means giving money or volunteering time to, again, help those in our market that really need it. And that's the best way to find out information on what resources are out there.
Awesome. So many great stuff, so many great things that the Orioles are doing. We know how important they are to the fabric of Baltimore as a city, and now that they are taking this opportunity during this difficult time to give back. Greg, thank you so much for taking an opportunity to join us here on MASN All Access. I can tell your dog in the background could use a nap, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, he's the star of the show, apparently. He crawled up there just as we were getting on the air, but I didn't have the heart to move him.
No, he could use the attention, I'm sure.
Well, thanks so much, and stay safe, everybody, and Paul, you too, and thanks for all the coverage. And let's go O's. Can't wait to get back to playing baseball at some point soon.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Greg.
Thank you.
That's all we got for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks, of course, to Hannah Broder and Bobby Blanco behind the scenes. We've got a podcast coming out tomorrow with Steve Molesky. Again, stay home, stay safe, stay healthy. There's only one way we're getting through this, and that is together. We'll see you later.